I'm in line to get an oil change. Just finished up the workout at Orange Theory, and boy, did they drag that out. Class started at noon, show started at noon, and I think it was 25 of, quarter of. We'll wait here a minute or two if anybody wants to join. I could be talking to nobody, but that's all right. Something new over here. See if anyone pops in. Yep, there's one. Give it a minute or two. What I tried to do the oil change before Orange Theory, but they're in a big line. Now I'm only waiting behind one person, so that'll be good enough. All right, we'll see if anybody else joins in. Dave Schultz, Locked On Sunbelt, your teams every day. How about those JMU Dukes? They got in. Tulane was obviously in, and Alabama got in. And they did not hold losing to Georgia against them. Weren't they ninth going in? And they were ninth in the college football playoffs. So Notre Dame lost out. Oh, too bad. Too bad for the Irish. Oh, I mean, basically, to me, that was a win-win. Tulane is in, JMU is in, and Alabama is in. The only problem with Alabama, if they wouldn't have got in, you may have had matches to okay, I got to move. Hold on a second. Going to the other gate here, if you will, or the other garage. The person next to me decided they didn't want to do it. All right, so we're moving over. All right. If Miami had, well, let me back it up. That may be better. If not Miami got it. If Alabama had not gotten in, everyone would have gone apoplectic, right? It would have been major changes, no conference championship games, which is a bunch of baloney because the conference championship games are too much money. I would love to see the first coach that says we're not playing in the championship game because we may lose out on the college football playoff. All right, that's never going to happen. All right, it's not going to happen. I wouldn't mind getting rid of the college championship games. That wouldn't bother me at all. But otherwise, I think that's an issue, or not an issue. All right. As far as JMU getting in, they're playing Oregon. All right. Obviously, they're going to need to play really well. Barnett's going to have to play better than he did the other day. And we're getting a bunch of people to join us now. All right. I'm just out of the Orange Theory class and waiting in line for an oil change. So I may have a discussion over here with the people doing the oil change. So bear with me. But JMU is in. And what a way for Bob Chesney to go out. He did say, and of course I was tweeting something and whatever the case was, you can see the video. Right before I pressed record, he said he's going to coach the team in the playoffs. So they're going to get one more game with Bob Chesney. It's 2 more weeks, which is going to be a little bit odd because Billy Napier's having a press conference on Wednesday. But it is what it is, so they'll work that out. It's well-deserved. It really is. They had one tough loss. They didn't make the rules about who gets in, the top 5 conference champions, and they were one of them. So they did get in. It's going to be tough because now Oregon, all right, let's think about Oregon's path for a second. Right, if they win, they get A&M. So Oregon can get to the semifinals without facing Indiana, Georgia, or Ohio State. So looking at it from the Oregon point of view, they're licking their chops as well. And if somehow JMU can pull off the upset, they get A&M, which, kind of had a soft SEC schedule. Again, it's a tall task. All right, quarterback for Oregon is really good. Dan Lanning is really good. They did beat USC, but they lost at home to Indiana, right? So we'll see how good Oregon is. They laid an egg last year to Ohio State. Now, Ohio State was a odd number 8 seed last year because, they got beat by Michigan. So that may have not been seeded properly. But, Oregon hasn't done well in the one playoff that they were in. So we'll see what Dan can do. And we got a couple of weeks. So it's going to be very interesting on how this all plays out. It's a lot of fun. We got another week, another 2 weeks, really, right? It's not until a couple weeks when the playoffs start. So So the country, here's the thing, the country's going to learn about Alonzo Barnett III. We know about him. JMU knows about him. And I'm not kidding. That I just saw Cam Ward is doing they're doing a show on Cam Ward, 0-star player. Well, what about Barnett III, right? From winning the job to having the yips or stage fright, whatever it was, getting benched, coming back, struggling a little bit. And Chesney said, you're the guy. You go out there and play. I'm not taking you out. You're going to make mistakes. We'll work on them and move on. And then has a fantastic year, except on the last play of the regular season, tears up his knee badly, comes back, and whether I believe it or not, he's the Sun Belt Player of the Year. I mean, that you're telling me that's not a movie? That's a little bit of a cheesy movie, but that's a movie, right? And, that's a great movie. And now you got the whole, Chesney's going to UCLA, and don't think for a second that the people out in UCLA are going to be like, well, if Cignetti can do that at Indiana, why can't Chesney do what he's doing for us at UCLA? So it's going to be a fantastic tournament. We'll see if JMU can hang. They got a defense, right? Probably going to have to be a little bit like what Cignetti said yesterday. It's going to have to be a low-scoring ball game. If Oregon starts getting going and starts putting up, 28, 31, 35 points, that may be tough for JMU to hang in there. But if this is a 24-17 ball game, 21-17 ball game, all of a sudden someone misses a field goal and you win, right? And so we shall see what happens. But we're going to learn a lot more about this JMU team, about Oregon. Love it that I'm sure I haven't, been on Twitter since the class that the, Power 4 schools are going nuts. Notre Dame is not in. And somehow JMU and Tulane are in. Miami did get in, which I thought was going to be the case, that somehow the ACC would screw themselves and put Miami in, because honestly they deserve it more than Virginia and Duke. Poor Duke. All right. And then we got this P4 versus G5 thing, right? I mean, Elijah Surratt scored the winning touchdown for Indiana last night. The defensive back from Navy broke up the pass, right? The Tulane quarterback ends up, not only does Tulane get in the championship, but in the playoffs, but now Mensa and Duke beats Virginia, getting JMU in the championship. ND got hosed. Yeah, too bad. I don't feel bad for Notre Dame. You're not. Yeah. Here's the thing. All right, with who got hosed. Okay. You're blaming the judge and jury after the fact. Everyone can have their resume. Okay. But I can point to all these things and say, flip it, and you're in. Right? Notre Dame beats Miami. You're in. Okay. That's it. Beat Miami, and you're in. Beat A&M, and you're in. Sorry. If you win those games, you're in. Right? Miami don't lose to Louisville at home, but they got in. And Alabama don't lose to Florida State, and they got in. Don't blame the judge and the jury after the fact. That's too bad. Notre Dame didn't play anybody for the last 2.5 months of the season, right? Last 2 months of the season. Their first 2 games were their hardest, and they lost both of them. So I don't feel bad for Notre Dame at all. At all. All right. Go Longhorns. They didn't get in. We're reading some of the. I'm going to go in for the. You're going to have to hang with me here as I going in here to the oil change. I may have to get out of the car, which may be easier. All right. Hang tight while I tell these guys what I want. All right. All right. Hello.
Hey,
1 second. Hey, very good. Yes. Can I get the same oil change? You got a $15 coupon for me?
I don't have any coupons I can scan, but you go on our website to find them.
I got one on my phone, but I don't know if I'm going to scan it here in a minute. All right. And can I get my tires changed? Rotated?
Yeah.
Rotated.
Mind if I open your door real quick, check your
I
tires
do not.
for you?
Want me to turn it off?
Oh, you can leave it running for us.
Okay. All right.
Recommend chocolate chip 33. Does that sound good for you?
You got to check the tires because the air is higher than that on the tires.
All right.
Check that. All right.
What's that current mileage sitting at today?
Almost 103. 102,966. Get an oil change. Hang tight.
Go ahead and pop that.
All right. Let's see here. Alabama can get dominated yesterday and get in. They did. Dave multitasking for the masses. What do you need?
I'm gonna just do this real quick.
Okay. All the lights should work.
And just step on the brakes for it.
All right. Mm-hmm. Which one did you give me there?
That would have been the one you used last time.
Yeah, that's good. All right. Yeah. All right.
And how are them wiper blades going for you?
They're fine. Yep. I just went on a road trip. All right.
You go ahead and put the car all the way out.
Okay. Well, I'm gonna open the. Let's do this. Okay. All right. All right. We're back. All right. So if you are just joining us, I'm getting an oil change after driving back and forth to Harrisonburg. Alabama can get dominated, get in. I mean, they got a shot. You know, they lost to Oklahoma by just a couple, and then they get Indiana. If Alabama wants to prove themselves, win 2 ball games. Otherwise, they could be one and done, right? And remember last year, we had some blowouts. Like people are saying the G5 don't belong because they're going to get blown out. JMU may get blown out by Oregon, but Oregon got blown out by Ohio State last year, and that was a 1 versus 8 seed. What's the difference, right? And we can, I mean, back when I was a kid, all those Super Bowls were blowouts, right? I mean, like the Bengals and the 49ers were a close one, and then the Bills and the Giants were close. But otherwise, the Broncos got blown out on a regular basis. My Patriots got blown out. Super Bowls used to not be close, right? And so if it's a blowout, it's a blowout. Let me see other chats here. We got people from India. I think it's Texas Tech, not A&M. Oh, it is Texas Tech. Oh, you're right. My bad. See, off the A&M's on the bottom, so it is Texas Tech. That's a good call. I appreciate that, Brian. So that's a little bit more difficult. All right, it's not A&M. So that's a tough 4-5 matchup for Oregon or JMU. All right. I'm not necessarily all in on Texas Tech, but yesterday they're pretty good. All right, and they bought their way to a championship. No one's breaking rules over there. They bought the softball team to a championship, and now they bought the football team to a championship. It is what it is. And some guy on Twitter is like, all these players left. Why did they leave your G5 schools if they're so good? Oh, I don't know. Maybe they're getting paid. Didn't Mensa get like $4 million to go to Duke? Are you out of your mind? Why they left? You don't understand why people are going from the G5 to the Power 4? All right. Not to mention they're scooping up all the coaches. Right? John Summerall at Florida, right? The American got 3 coaches to the getting all Power 4 jobs, right? They didn't get assistant coaches. They didn't take coaches that had Power 5 jobs before or Power 4 jobs before. They're all from the G5. Chesney's going out to UCLA. They're all scooping them up. So we'll see how JMU does. All right, we'll scout a little bit on Oregon. I'm sure we'll have a crossover episode in there somewhere. Talking Oregon Ducks, I have not watched. I think I'll watch the second half of the Indiana-Oregon game. I haven't watched Oregon at all this year, so I can sit here and tell you. I know the quarterback is pretty good, and obviously they're a good football team. Dan Lanning's done a great job over there. He's one of those assistants that has done a good job over at Oregon. So we'll see how that goes. JMU gets. I mean, if you people think that a G5 national championship is going to be more exposure than 2 weeks of getting ready for the playoffs, you're insane. You're insane.
Oh, is that for the Chiefs?
Yeah. You guys are insane. All right. People who think a G5 national championship, they said that students at JMU had never rushed the field before. They've won 2 national championships. They didn't rush the field. So now they rush the field, winning the Sun Belt with a chance to go play for a national champion, with a chance to play for an FBS national championship. So I think it's outrageous that you want a G5 thing. The NIT, and now it's different. is because you could something with those players and come back the next year. Well, now everyone's leaving every year, so that's not going to be a thing. The 2 weeks that JMU and Tulane are going to get exposure-wise, Tulane's looking for a head coach, by the way, is going to be enormous. The amount of money that they're going to make and the enrollment that could help out JMU over the next 2 weeks is exponentially more than what a G5 national championship would bring. Not to mention a not to mention if they win. What happens if they win? What happens if they beat Oregon? Right? So it's going to be a lot of fun. I'm going to get back to this oil change, see if everything is going all right. Appreciate it. We'll keep on going if we got any more. Let's see here. Could JMU possibly win? I mean, they could possibly win, right? All the pressure's on Oregon, right? If you saw what happened yesterday against Ohio State and Indiana, hold on one second. Yeah.
Just one thing, show me real quick. Engine air filter right there is getting pretty dirty right there.
Getting. Well, I'll keep it one more time and do it the next time.
All right.
Thanks. All the pressure's on Oregon, right? If you have like that Ohio State Indiana game where it's 10-6 at half, and Indiana goes right down and scores a touchdown, they had 1.5 halves, right? They had a good, I don't know, 28 minutes to score, and they got stopped on a 4th-and-1, right ahead. The quarterback, Salem, put his knee down, and then they missed a chippy field goal. So, and I don't mind what he's saying. He's like, sometimes it's better to be lucky than good. He said it was a whale of a game. We gutted it out. We got a little lucky, which they did. All right. And so if it's close, that's what I mean. If it could be 13-10, 17-13 at half, if it's 24-7 at half, it's going to be tough for JMU to come back, even with that great defense, right? Because then they only need probably 7 points to put the game away. You need a close ball game. I think they have a shot. Tori watching, not true. I rushed the field during JMU's first championship. Thanks, Tori. I thought I was told while I was there that they didn't rush the field. So I appreciate the information, but I appreciate you watching. Will Oregon, Dante Moore not playing the playoffs to stay healthy for the draft? That's wishful thinking. I would think that not to be the case. Gustav, big fan of the show. We are playing with house money. I agree with that, but go win the football game, right? Because I do believe somewhere along the way, and watch out. Let's see what Tulane does with Ole Miss. All right, John Sumrall. They don't have Lane Kiffin. Well, let's see if Tulane is it with Ole Miss, right? Wasn't it Ole Miss? Tulane? No. Yeah, tell me if I'm right about that. It's Tulane and Ole Miss, right? Let's see what happens here. AI says as many as 12 Ducks might be drafted. How many? They'll all play in the playoffs. Everyone's going to play in the playoffs. I'd be shocked if the Ducks aren't playing in the playoffs, especially after what happened last year. They're all going to play in the playoffs. We'll see if anybody opts out. The only guys who could opt out are guys who are banged up, right? That's about it. Guys who don't want to further hurt themselves. But if you have a chance to play for a national championship, I don't know anybody who's backed out of playing for a national championship. Plenty of people back out for a bowl game, but we'll see who's backing out of a national championship because I'm not buying that thought process. We'll obviously have a full episode on, yeah, I think so. Wishful thinking. We'll have a full episode for Monday. I'll gather what the reaction is from around the country. I'm sure people are, yeah, hey, Dennis, it seemed like everybody, Cajuns fans were rooting for him. I thought I saw Texas State, Twitter people on there. Everybody seemed to be rooting for the first time for G5, and especially JMU. There's not a lot of love lost over in the East for JMU. ODU doesn't like JMU. App State doesn't like JMU. And I saw a lot of people hoping all week long that Duke was going to pull this off. I didn't think they could. They played a whale of a ball game. What are we doing with a, flea flicker thrown in double coverage? And they started at the 40. They had bad issues to begin with starting at the 40. So they were behind the 8 ball right to begin with. So we'll have a full recap of the playoff. We'll start to look at it, start to break down what Oregon does well. And we got not exactly sure when the game is. I think it starts on the 19th. What's today? Well, my workout thing's still working. So maybe 11 days. They could be the first game. I don't know what game they are. We'll find that out when I look. But I'm sure they're going to be complaining Notre Dame is not in, Vanderbilt didn't get in. I want a 16-team playoff. We can talk about that. I want a 16-team playoff. I think that, and I also want the top four teams to get a home game. Right? They get screwed without getting a home game because we want to see the guys from the SEC, the big tough SEC guys, go play Indiana in Bloomington in December or January. That's what we want to see. It doesn't have to be brutally cold, but it's going to be colder than it would be in the South. That's what we want to see. All right. At least that's what I want to see. So I'm looking forward to a 16-team playoff. I don't think it has to be more than that. I don't think it has to be 24. 16 is good. You can cut out the conference championship games as far as I'm concerned. All right. Gustav is all over it. Saturday, December 20th. So that's 2 weeks. 2 weeks of huge exposure on ESPN, Fox. The national networks are all going to pick up on Tulane and JMU, right? Someone should probably want to write a musical on James Madison like they did with Hamilton. All right. Did they put oil in the car? Did you put oil in the car?
I sure hope so.
All right. Sure hope so.
Full pressure game one.
All right.
A little bit of gas for real quick.
Mhm.
Gonna go ahead and shut it all the way down. We're gonna go ahead and pop you out. Get you inside that lobby for that
Okay.
protection.
Here because they can't change the tires without me in it. All right. It's a fat joke. All right. What's that? Okay. All right. If anybody's else in there. Oh, no. All right.
I'll say probably about 10, 15 minutes.
Okay. Thank you.
Thank you.
All right. I will tell you, the car, man, smooth. That Hyundai Genesis is a smooth car. All right. I don't really realize that. It was a smooth ride all the way to Harrisonburg. All right. So I have a few more minutes. We're lucky Chesney is classy and sticking around for the playoffs. Kind of lucky that they're letting him do that. Obviously, there's a big difference between Lane Kiffin going from Ole Miss to LSU. Can't have that. Although they're allowing um, Weiss Jr. to be the offensive coordinator for Ole Miss during the playoffs. Then Chesney going from UCLA. All right, and we'll see if anybody follows him to UCLA. I presume some will. That's how you can set the culture. Gustav, I didn't. It didn't go out. I thought about it. I was heading there. Something Jack's. I was heading to Jack's, and then I thought it'd be way too young, and it would be a little inappropriate. So I didn't go out. I should have. And I didn't go to bed late until, for some reason, I was back at home by 11:30, 12 by the hotel, and somehow I didn't get to bed till 2, which was not great. Uh, but everyone was great at JMU. What did I meet? Who did I meet? Devlin Joyce, is that his name? Like the all-time great JMU player. He was very nice. He's got a bourbon podcast. I think he called it Black and Bourbon, Black Guys Talking Bourbon. I didn't name it, he did. So we're gonna Black and Brown. He named it Black and Brown. All right. So Black Guys talking about bourbon. So I'm looking forward to getting on that podcast. We can certainly do that. Oh, Billy Jacks, yeah. You said the bar at Hotel Madison, and it looked like it was closed after the game. I drove right past that. I thought it looked like it was closed. There you go, Delvin Joyce. Yes, he was at the game. Very nice man. All right. I missed. We saw G Fed. All right. Me and Dominic Cressetti from um, Sunbelt Syndicate, and right there came PF Commodore, and it looked like him. It didn't look like him, and it was him. And I'm so disappointed in myself that I didn't get a chance to meet him. And now again, it's going to be 2 more weeks of PF Commodore talking about JMU. It is such the amount of exposure that JMU is about to get for the next 2 weeks. You cannot buy that. You cannot buy what's going to happen to JMU over the next 2 weeks. You can't do it on social media. You can't buy that advertising. The amount of exposure that JMU is going to get for the next 2 weeks, not to mention Tulane, all right, and all the other schools. The other schools don't need it. The other schools already get it every week, right? I mean, those guys at Pat McAfee, like, is Tulane on TV? Tulane was on TV 10 out of 12 games this year, not streaming, on TV. they were on TV, right? Just because you didn't watch doesn't mean they weren't on TV. All right. Um, and so the amount of exposure that those two schools are going to get, not to mention again, Tulane needs a head coach. I think I don't think anyone's taken the job yet, right? I am not going to Eugene. That no, I was hoping they could play Indiana. All right, but Indiana screwed that up because they were they kept on winning and the number one seed. I'm in within driving distance of Bloomington. Um, uh, but I'm not going to that. I guess I could try to get. I'm going home also. I had a few days off to burn. So, I'm taking some days off right before the holiday. In fact, I'm flying back to Louisville on Christmas Day. Hopefully that's the easiest flying day of the year. I presume there's no restaurants being opened at that time, in the airport. So we'll have to, and we're leaving early. But I don't mind getting up early, traveling, and getting home and resting up so you get to be rested for the next day's work, which I'm not sure we're too busy the day after Christmas at Jim B. Uh, but again, the 2 weeks of exposure that JMU is about to get is going to be fantastic. Again, you just can't buy that. Bob Chesney is going to get 2 weeks of exposure being the new UCLA head coach. And again, he's going to be compared to Kurt Signetti. And so it really is going to be a fantastic 2 weeks for JMU. All right. You hope they don't get blown out, right? That's what we're all hoping for. But at the same time, even if they do get blown out, Oregon got blown out last year, right? Tennessee got blown out last year. Teams get blown out. All right. Football games are different than basketball games. Whereas, basketball games, you can get back in it with a run. A 10, 15 point game in basketball, you hit a few threes and a couple of turnovers by the other team, and it's all of a sudden, it's a 6 point game, right? That just doesn't happen. You need fluky turnovers to happen in football to get you back into ball games. I know A&M pulled it off against South Carolina, but that's why that is so special because that doesn't happen. In fact, I think that's the first time that has ever happened in college football. So comebacks like that generally don't happen in football. So games can spiral out of control. Um, UCLA fans have been weighing in on a lot of podcasts that they're rooting for JMU. Of course they are. All right. Because now you know, Chesney will be not only recruiting for JMU, right? Because just going on as the JMU head coach, but they're going to bring up he's going to UCLA. So he's gonna be recruiting for both schools at the same time, right? All those guys in Southern California want to stay home now. They can go to UCLA. Um, and all those, guys in the Virginia, Maryland, Ohio Valley area can go to JMU now, right? Pennsylvania, they know that they can go. So, uh, all right. Um, appreciate you guys popping on. Figured I would be talking to you guys instead of just being in the. Oh, I think they're done. Just being in the car, and I knew I had to wait. It's been a productive morning, actually. We got the car washed. That needed to be done. We went to Orange Theory. We went grocery shopping. And now we got an oil change and tire rotation. And so we're in good shape. So I appreciate it. Please subscribe over at Locked On Sunbelt. Excuse me. I mean, if there's ever a chance that I could get to 3,000 subscribers, now it is, right? We'll see if we get to 3,000 subscribers by the 19th. I need less than 250 subscribers now. So let's see if we can do that. Appreciate it. Hey, thanks, Dennis. I appreciate you for tuning in. All right. Still have to eat breakfast. I think my brother's coming over. We're gonna watch football and clean up. So trying to get organized for the week that is Jim Beam. We're not very busy these days, although I will tell you, stay tuned. They did. This is not private information. The labels came out, so we're coming out with some great products. Old Granddad 114 single barrel. That's going to be awesome. And usually when our new products come out, I buy a bottle. We're coming out with Knob Creek 12 cask strength. And from my understanding, I didn't even know that existed until a few months ago. And it came out a few years ago, and people have been clamoring for it. And so when that comes out, I may just buy a case. I am not running out, and I don't drink that much, oddly enough. But I'm not running out of that product whatsoever. All right, hey, I appreciate you guys tuning in again. Be sure to subscribe to Locked On Sunbelt on YouTube, and you can get it audio wise, right? You don't have to do the video if you want to listen working out, going to work, at work. You can just tune in with the ear pods. You can do that over at Apple Podcasts and Spotify. So we're over there as well. All right. Thanks for tuning in. Had more than I thought. Appreciate it. Dukes going to the college football playoffs. Amazing.